Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, I have a multi-role ship, the Drake CUTLASS BLACK, right behind me. Let's go ahead and take a look. Hello everybody and welcome back to another review. Today I'm taking a look at the CUTLASS BLACK, and before I do, I just want to say again, thank you for entering into the giveaway, and hopefully you have entered. If you haven't, make sure you do. Now, moving on, the Drake CUTLASS BLACK sitting here right in front of me. This is update 3.23. There's not going to be too much of a difference between this and the 3.24 version, other than maybe like a little bit more DPS, just due to the fact that I think laser weapons are getting an increase. I don't have those numbers yet, so I can't really report on them, but I'll make sure to update people when that does come out. Now, going over this ship here, starting off, it does have a price tag of $110, and that's if you pledge for it on the pledge store, which, you know, a lot of people have done just because it's such an amazing, versatile ship. Now, if you would rather just get it in-game, that's totally, you know, plausible and something that I recommend doing sooner or later. And that'll cost you 2,116,800 UEC, and that is in the city of Lorville on the planet of Hurston. Now, outside of that, let's go ahead and actually talk about that damage per second of what this ship does have. Now, it's not just pilot-controlled weapons. It's also a manned turret on the top of the machine here that you see. She does have a manned turret, and that is pretty cool. A lot of ships, it's kind of split, manned turret or a, you know, unmanned turret. Sometimes the unmanned turret is just better, just because you don't have to worry about it being another crew requirement. With this ship, it does add that third spot, but technically, it's kind of like a second spot. And I'm going to show you why here in just a second. But starting off, it is 1,666 DPS. What an interesting number. Doesn't mean anything too much of the, 666 at the end there. You know, it's still a great ship. Don't let that get to your head. And that's because it has two size 3 Mantis GT220 Gatling guns, as well as two size 3 CF337 Panthers. Those are laser repeaters. Those are really good weapons for this style of ship. And the manned turret is also housing two size 3 CF337 Panthers. And I'll just say that's a pretty good outfit. If you have your co-pilot or, you know, your turret gunner, having all those guns manned and everything is just fantastic. Outside of your weaponry, you do have a tractor beam in this ship. It is actually deployed now on the inside of the ship, which looks really cool and does a lot of great work when it is, you know, working. Now, that's right there. You go ahead and deploy it. It comes out, and then you can go ahead and, you know, pull in cargo and stuff. There is sometimes where, you know, it has been a little glitchy getting it to work. It used to be right up back here in the back, and that didn't make much sense because you couldn't do anything with it, right? So fantastic that they moved the position of that. Outside of that, you do have 8 size 3 Arrestor 3 missiles and 8 size 2 Tempest 2 missiles. So quite a bit of missiles as well, which people love to modify what type of missiles they carry so they can carry more of, which is not a bad idea. It comes with a pretty good assortment of weapons. If you were to compare it to like the Freelancer or the C1 Spirit, you know, the Freelancer's got a lot of big guns, and it also has a, you know, player-controlled manned turret, and it has a little bit more accessibility for the crew, I guess, I'd say. And I'll show you that in here in just a second. First, let's talk about the defensive nature of this ship. It does have 6,000 bubble shield, so definitely not bad. It's about in line with the C1 Spirit. The Freelancer has a lot more shield, a little bit less health, though. So that's something to consider if you're looking between the two, since they are priced literally almost the same. Especially pledge-wise, they are priced the same. Now, this ship does have 45,750 ship HP. Now, that ship HP is something to be kind of wary about. And I say this, you know, gently, I guess. If you're a decent pilot or really good pilot, you can avoid getting these arms knocked off or the engine nacelles in the back. And, you can really make some good work with this ship. But you got to be very wary of losing these arms or the engine nacelles. Losing an arm could spell disaster as you lose weapons, as well as losing that engine nacelle back there. Any one of these items could potentially cause your ship to enter a death spin or just become very heavy to control. Sometimes, almost impossible to control. And I'm going to show you right now some combat footage as I talk about this. I got into a, match with some AI that jumped me out of quantum space. And when they did, they attacked me, I attacked them, I destroyed them. It was fantastic. But they ended up taking the front right wing off. And when that happened, I could still fly the ship, but it felt very heavy and it kept on trying to spin like dramatically. And if you didn't control it, it would have ended up in a death spin. So it was quite interesting to say the least. But, it happens. You got to get out there. This is a medium, what they call fighter or a medium freight ship. Honestly, it is a jack of all trades. It can do pretty much anything. So it's a pretty awesome ship in that nature. And as you can see, it has that Drake design where everything is pretty much exposed. So something to consider there. Now, it does carry 46 SCU of cargo, and that's in the back there. And we're going to go over that here more in a second. But as well as that cargo, you can fit vehicles back there like the Rock and, smaller vehicles. You can't fit an Ursa. It's too big. So no Nursa travel. Sorry. That's too bad, honestly. But it can still fit other things like the Rock or, other smaller vehicles. So you can go out there and do some fun stuff with that. Now, the ship's speed has a max SCM of 215, a forward boost of 465, a backwards boost of 230, and a nav speed of 1,125. Now, outside of that, it does have 2,500 quantum fuel, so it can go quite a few, spots without having to refuel, especially, since you would want to. This ship is considered to be an inner system ship. It's not meant to be jumping around to different systems, and there's some reasons behind that. It has a lot of quantum fuel, has a good quantum drive and all that, but, it just doesn't really have the crew requirement for living to do such a thing. Now, before we get back there to see that, in this cargo room here, you do have 6 jump seats. So if you want to enter a bunker or something and you have a lot of buddies you want to bring with you, here you go. Or you can just become a transport service and pick up people and, have them sit down on any one of these seats. Pretty neat. This ship hasn't had its gold standard pass or its components pass yet, so nothing is accessible. There's probably going to have to be a pretty big redesign for this ship so it can fit a lot of these things, but I guess we'll see. Now, this ship, speaking of, just like in the C1 Spirit, does it have only one entrance? No, it actually has 3. One in the back, one on that side, and one right here. Now, these are considered entrances in my opinion because you can absolutely jump up and grab the ledge and, get in as well as jump out at any time. So entrance, exit, absolutely. If we move past this area through this door, this would be considered your living or combat or, everything style room. You do have your pilot and co-pilot seats straight ahead, as well as 2 storage lockers to the left and 4 weapons racks to the right. Now, you do have 2 beds here for a pilot and a co-pilot, and then also a, gunner seat for your turret gunner. Now, this is where you got to ask yourself, would it be better if they got rid of this, made that turret a unmanned turret, put this as like a bathroom, and maybe, rearrange some of this to add a little kitchenette, and just made the unmanned turret controllable by the co-pilot? Because honestly, you have 3 seats, 2 beds, and 4 weapons racks, 2 storage lockers. It seems like they're not sure if they want it to be a 2-person ship, a 3-person ship, potentially a 4-person ship, and none of these weapons racks are for the jump seats either. So there's just a lot of interesting design choices here in how they have a lot of this organized. So maybe they'll, refresh this and move some things around and get rid of this here seat and make it a bathroom, as well as, adding some sort of little kitchen area. Because as of right now, they don't have one. There's no kitchen space. There's no bathroom. You can't really do much. So the only way you can really do anything is by standing out the side door and, dropping trow. Oh, yeah. Anyways, you got exposed wires everywhere and pipes. And, of course, Drake being famous for their guardrails because, nothing spells safety like Drake. And then you have your pilot seat and your co-pilot seat. These seats do rise up so you get a better view out the windows. It's not like you're just sitting at a blank pylon here. So Pretty cool. I like that. It's a pretty neat design, and honestly, it's a great ship. It has a lot of variety, and it's very well loved around the verse, and can do quite a bit. Now, the question you got to ask yourself is, what can it do for you, right? Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to run deliveries? Check, you could do that. Do you want to run bunkers with some buddies or just alone? Check, you could do that. Do you want to run some cargo? It can kind of do that. It's a little bit lighter on the cargo, spectrum than the Freelancer or the C1 Spirit, but it can definitely do that. Remember, 46 SCU of cargo on the grid here. So something to consider if you're looking for a little bit more cargo. Maybe this isn't your choice, right? Now, how is it in DPS? Definitely not terrible, but not great. Now, here's where that kind of changes, right? It has 1,666 DPS, but the capacitors on the laser weapons are really, really good. So it might not have a lot of DPS per se, but since you can keep consistent fire on a target, you absolutely have a lot of ability to take down anything in your path. So give it a shot. I'm going to get in the pilot seat here really quick and let you know that this ship does have VTOL thrusters. As you can see on screen, all you got to do is hit K on the keyboard, and it will put them in the position to go ahead and take off or land, and that's pretty awesome. Always nice to have VTOL thrusters on your ship. Now, outside of that, it's pretty straightforward. She has pretty decent maneuverability, and she can definitely move, not the quickest, but quicker than some ships. She's got some pretty good acceleration with those big engines on the back, and a pretty good amount of ammo for those guns. So really love that. Now, what would I give this ship if I were to give it a rating? Of course, in comparison to other ships around its price, point, could you compare this to something like a Hull A or a Nomad or, the Freelancer or the C1 Spirit, right? That's really where you're sitting. And this ship doesn't do certain things better than some of those other ships, like cargo. You're probably better off going with a Freelancer or the C1 Spirit. Fighting, this ship is your bet, right? Going with people in a crew, this ship is a good bet as well. This ship is it's like a multi-tool. You can do so many things, and that is really awesome. So the Drake Cutlass Black, if I were to give this a review score, really the only downside I see is it's got a light, sustained DPS. The burst DPS is great. It's got a little bit less cargo. The shield is a little, 6,000, same as the C1 Spirit. Honestly, this ship is a 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10 is hard to come by because obviously no ship is amazing at everything. But you know what? With this ship, it's a 9 out of 10, but also I could see it easily as a 10 out of 10 as well. It just really depends. Those engine pylons are my point de factor right there, because the engine pylons and the wings on the side are so easy to break off and cause such a big problem for you and your flight experience. So something to always keep wary about. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what you think of this ship down in the comments below. Do you have one? If you've been around this game for a while, I'm sure you do, or at least you've flown one. It's a great ship. Thank you guys. You all are amazing, and I'll see you in the next one.
The engine shielding is down. Locked and missiles away.